Hey, recording this video. It's actually Sunday, 22nd of May 2011 here in Sydney, and I hope everybody got to watch the video I recorded after close of trade on Thursday. Very important. I'll put a link up to it on the this latest post. But we had a break of Thursday's low on Friday's trade, and this is extremely important. So I think this is a major turning point in the market. We've had made our second cyclical turn after end of trend, and we've just broken below our cyclical support. And I think Paul Tudor-Jones talks about prices moving first and fundamentals kind of coming second. I think we're going to get some very bad news in the next week, and I think the market's heading down. I think this bull runs over, but there we go. I always stick my neck out. Take it or leave it. You have to make your own decisions, but I'll show you what's happening on my charts. First of all, Friday's trade, looking at the volume, we had about 2.2 million contracts, day and night session. This is the @ES, so the day and the night, using 40 minute chart. You can see this is printing end of trend, second cyclical turn after end of trend. This is the Bin Laden high at 72. And I often talk about second cyclical turns as places where we get kind of potential starts of new trends. And what has happened over the last week, we've had a support level put in here, and we've broken below that support now and closed below that support, so that's a break to the downside. This could well see the beginning of a strong down move, and the thing that kind of alerted me to the fact that this is a weak kind of testing back up is these whole series of days, and I talked about this in the Thursday follow-up video. First of all, these 2 days, you can see the volume is extremely light, kind of testing back up into the highs, just showing no demand here. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, we had the same kind of thing going on, two extremely low volume days, and actually Thursday ended up being a high churn day, so that was kind of a relatively small range day with relatively higher volume, and so that shows kind of professional profit taking. And then today, a rush for the exits. Basically, we didn't get anywhere in terms of breaking past yesterday's high, and we just sold off all day. I think this is extremely important, and so I'll be looking for kind of a continuation of this downtrend. Now, this is not going to be a straight line down, because there's always going to be kind of pullbacks along the way, but psychologically I think this is an important turning point. And you don't read about these things in the newspapers, like no one's telling you on day one when the revolution starts, so just watch out. Looking at the other charts, better X trend has now kind of got a confirmation. I talk about this kind of pulling up under the lip. So here we had a couple of days ago, we had X trend kind of flip over into downtrend. We tested back up to this resistance line kind of on better X trend, and now we've kind of had a push down and trailed the stop kind of further down. So this is this lip that I talk about, where we kind of pull in under the lip and kind of keep going the other way. So this could well be the start of a major kind of down move. We've had this kind of sequence before. We've been basically playing around, making this island reversal pattern kind of here, pushing to new highs, getting people kind of psyched out. This classic kind of gap up move here, getting people trapped into positions up here, and then we kind of break. I could well see us, we've got all kinds of things going on in Europe on Sunday night. We could get some bad news, kind of gap down, below 20, something like that, and then kind of just have a 2-point day to the downside, and all of a sudden this would stick out like a sore thumb. I think we're going to get one of those kind of 2 percentage point moves down this week, so I'm going to be looking for that when that kind of sets up, hopefully kind of trying to pick up as much of that as possible rather than just kind of coming out with 4 points. Trendline charts, daily trendline charts. This is this island reversal. We've broken below this rising trend line into a downtrend here. Kind of tested back up, kissed this falling trend line, and this is what we're kind of playing off. 135 minute chart, you can see we're in consolidation, so it's anything below this point. I think it was at 1316. The lows kind of down here is very significant. If we start kind of breaking that, we already broke Thursday's low, so if we break, I think this was Wednesday's low as well, that'll be a really strong kind of technical sign. But we're in congestion on the 135 minute chart, waiting for a breakout, and we've not had any kind of push to the upside, really weak pushed, no demand on the upside. And on the weekly chart, we're also in consolidation here, just sitting within the kind of the apex of this kind of triangulation pattern. So again, just expecting a big move now. Wanted to talk about something just in terms of how better momentum looks. So I use better momentum to judge kind of the buying and selling. You can see this whole move was set off back in August, September with this. We had a flush signal flushing out the last of the sellers here, an explosion kind of buying volume, kind of getting this move going. We had another one at this end of trend. Potential turning point here that kind of set us off in this next move, and then we kind of reached these highs, making flush patterns at the end of the year, beginning of the new year here, and we've kind of tested back up. The first kind of rush to the doors was here when we came into this pullback move. We found support with bullish divergence, kind of testing back up, and what I've been seeing, this move back up to 72 was with almost like a last roll of the dice here for people buying into this market, and it failed, and we've now had this bearish divergence pattern that's kind of come in here right on the zero line at this first little peak here, and now we're kind of moving off. Just want to talk about do uptrends end in fireworks, in basically explosions of buying volume? I think definitely on lower time frame charts you definitely see it, certainly on my frame charts, kind of highs and lows being made with kind of exhaustion buying, exhaustion selling. On daily charts and the longer term charts, we definitely get markets kind of rolling over when there's a lack of demand, and we don't see a spike in volume as a final hurrah and people kind of buying in and getting left behind, as we saw in silver, if you like. Silver went kind of exponential. We had extreme volume kind of going up in the 2 weeks kind of prior to the top in silver at 50, and then the market collapsed. And so do topping patterns always look like that? And I don't believe they do. I definitely think we can turn over at just when there's a lack of demand, and we at bottoms definitely see kind of extreme selling, and the professionals kind of come in and pick it up. But I think tops can be made with a lot less kind of fanfare, if you like, and you can see this in this pattern, the way we had this explosion move here. We had a flush signal coming up to this high. We tested back up. We had a weak buying at this point, then a last roll of the dice here. We get a final little push of volume, and then we kind of get very weak buying at this point, and we kind of roll over. I'm just going to go back to 2007. To July of 2007, which was the 1550 kind of high, and just show you what was going on there. This was actually also a second cyclical turn after end of trend. So we'd had this first move in the February, end of trend, second cyclical turn after end of trend. The exhaustion buying volume came at the end of trend, so have to wait for the second cyclical turn, and we get a flush at the second cyclical turn. You can see here we kind of sell off, and that was a kind of nice little pattern, but we still kind of pushed on. There was still kind of bullish sentiment in the market, pushed on to an end of trend, second cyclical turn. But you see here, pushing to these new highs, all these bearish divergence pattern, there was less and less buying kind of going on here until we finally, we got a little bit of a rush to the doors initially here with this exhaustion selling volume, came back up. This is kind of almost like the last roll of the dice here, and then another push here up to this point here right at the highs. Last roll of the dice, the professionals just can't get it going, no demand up here, and we kind of roll over, and then we all know where this ended up. So you can definitely get kind of highs, significant highs in the market made without it kind of extreme buying and exhaustion volume on the upside. So contrast that with this kind of move here. These are all these kind of bearish divergence patterns kind of coming up after the new year, weaker and weaker buying. We get the first kind of push down, we kind of push back up as a result of that last roll of the dice up here, and we kind of roll over. So that's the same similar sequence that you're kind of seeing here. So don't expect us to see a $2-3 million kind of volume up two or 3 million contracts up day as a final kind of explosion volume, and that's kind of the end of the move, and everybody kind of sees it because it sticks out like a sore thumb. I think these things can definitely roll over, just showing a lack of demand. Just on the higher time frame tip bar charts, so that's kind of the longer term picture, but now we're now in downtrend territory with these kind of breaks. On the 40,500 tip bar chart, we tried to break above cyclical resistance here. We've come back down to close below it. we need to head back down to find cyclical support, and we're a ways off on the 40,500 tip-off chart before finding that cyclical support, and we'll certainly need to see kind of exhaustion selling at that point and divergence points, bullish divergence on better momentum when we come into those kind of cyclical supports. So this move is definitely not over to the downside. On the 13,500 tip bar chart, we've had a pullback and a downtrend, so we've got to make an end of trend on this time frame. But look at this, this is the exhaustion kind of selling at this point, kind of coming in before that end of trend, so we're likely going to have to wait for a second cyclical turn after end of trend on the 13,500 tip bar chart, which would coincide with kind of a longer move that takes a little bit longer on the 40,500 tip bar chart. And my worry is that that's going to happen below 1316. It's like we're going to head back down, test 13 at 1316. We're going to get all kinds of fireworks on the downside. So after 1316, we could well see kind of the professionals kind of stepping back in, and us kind of finding support there and rallying back up. But just be aware that the whole tenor of the market, I think, is going to change to the downside. And then on the 4,500 tip bar chart, this was interesting activity. I didn't trade particularly well. I only made 2 3/4 points on Friday and 6 trades. I was definitely kind of over trading, and I didn't catch enough of this down move. It set off nicely. It was a double Rambo pattern that kind of set us off into this downtrend, and I didn't catch enough of this downtrend move. It kind of found support. We had flush signals kind of down here, and we bounced, but the bounce was extremely weak, and you can see we just came back down, and the professionals have been using this kind of all along the way, these points, just to get out, and we keep on making lower lows, and this is kind of all the we get extremely kind of professional activity at the end of the day. Because professionals are closing out positions at the end of the day, and it was the end of a Friday, and I think it was an expiration day, so it's all kind of things kind of going on there. But just be aware, on these higher time frame charts, we're now kind of into down swings, and need to find end of trend signals, and I'm just concerned that that's going to happen below 1316. So there we go. I'm going to put a link back to Thursday's the follow-up video after Thursday, because it's extremely important. But this is what is showing us lack of demand. These two low volume up days, ending with a high volume churn day, professionals taking profits, and we're now closing below cyclical support here. So and everybody's kind of watching what's going on in Europe. I think the end game is becoming more and more plausible in Europe, and the politicians are rushing around like headless chickens trying to stop a collapse in the euro and a collapse of the eurozone. But look for, as Paul Tudor Jones says, prices move first, fundamentals come second. We're going to get some 2% downtrend moves in the market this week, and we're going to get there's going to be some kind of news story that is just going to surprise everybody, and I could well see it being some kind of a European default or exit or something like that. So anyway, hope your trading is going well. Enjoy your weekend, rest up. It's going to be an interesting week going forward.